Okay, we're going to start several different PowerPoints talking about storm water management. What happens when it rains? And we're not just talking about storm conditions, but anytime we get any amount of rain, it's very important. And this is where we're looking. Even if we have just a little bit of rain, we want the rain to sink into the ground. This is like a natural environment before we do any development. We want it to sink into the ground. That sinks down into our aquifers so that we can then have water from our aquifers. It gets filtered as it goes through the ground to get any contaminants out. We want evaporation to happen. That's how we get more water back up in our atmosphere for more rain and prevent drought conditions. We don't want there to be runoff, surface runoff where it's just running downhill. You can look at each one of these. This is just with a little bit. We have a big piece of property. We put one small house on it. These numbers don't change from here. We put in a subdivision where we take out all the natural trees. We see less evaporation, so we're going to have more drought conditions, and less of our water is going into the ground. Notice the runoff went up 20%. That's significant. Now we have to have ditches and things to catch all this water, possibly more dams, bigger rivers, etc. And then when we really industrialize, think downtown Austin, we have very low infiltration, so we're getting very little water put back on our aquifers. This causes drought conditions. And an even lower evaporation rate, 10% less in evaporation, will cause drought. And all this excess, 45% of it is going to runoff. So now our rivers are being overflowed and our ditches and things are overflowing, and it's not getting back into our rain system here. Runoff causes problems with pollutants. We want to have low impact when we develop. We want the ground to continue to look like that natural state where we've got all the water going into the infiltrating into the ground and we have enough water going back to evaporation. We don't want runoff. No matter if it's a tiny bit of rain or if it's a big flash flood, we don't want a lot of runoff. You should just be slowing down and pausing or rewinding as you need to take notes on these various slides. We're going to look at each one of these individually. Here's rain gardens. This is designed to hold water here in this area instead of having it run off to a next property. Green roofs, we've already talked about those. Vegetated strips. This keeps the water from up here just zooming out into the street, and it catches it in these areas. Rain barrels and cisterns. Cisterns are just these bigger ones that catch rainwater. Do note that various states have laws against catching rainwater. So this does depend on what state, what city, what county you're talking about, whether you can catch your own rainwater and then use it to water your lawn or those things. Permeable pavers. So this is actually, instead of a solid concrete sheet that would just cause the water to run off, this actually has little gravel in between each of these so that some of the water can filter down through it. This cuts down on that runoff. They also make concrete now that can also have some of the water go down through it and infiltrate the ground instead of all running off. So this is impervious surface reduction. This is saying we're reducing how much of the surface is impervious, so some of the water can go through. These are some new products, and this is a really good thing. Okay. Conventionally, if we made in the past the old school way, we would when we made a subdivision, we just take everything out, put in lawn, driveway, house. This would have a lot of impact on the infiltrating and the runoff. This is the low impact development. We leave some of the natural wooded area there. We put in an area where we're going to catch water. We put in a section here with detention. We put in a section here with like a raised bed that keeps this water from our area from running over out into here. And they've reduced the width of the roadway. Roadways are generally impervious, so a lot of water goes rushing down here. And here we've reduced that size. Take a minute and look at the various parts on this sketch. Read through all of these and see if they make sense with what we just saw. Here's some more diagrams. These are other diagrams of the one from the previous page. You may want to go back on the video and look at that versus what they've actually built. And that's it.